Good morning, members. We have a quorum, and it is the appointed time. I call to order the meeting of the panel on transport. Item 1, information paper issued since last meeting. There is none. Item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. There are 2. The next meeting will be held at 10:45 a.m. on Friday, the 20th of March. Item 1 is operation of franchised buses. Item 2, proposed retention of one time-limited supernumerary directorate post, D1, in Transport Department for 5 years from the 2nd of July 2026 to the 1st of July 2031. To expedite the development of autonomous vehicles in Hong Kong and strengthen the application of bus technology. Members, are there any views concerning the 2 proposed items? There being none, it is decided. Item 3. At the previous meeting, some members considered that we need to establish a subcommittee on matters in relation to railway, because there will be a number of railway projects delivered soon. We need a subcommittee to monitor the planning and operation of the new railway projects. I was also supportive of the idea, so I asked members again, do we still need to establish this subcommittee? Since most members are supportive, I will ask the Secretariat to draft the terms of reference for this subcommittee. And members will be consulted by way of circulation of paper. If so, I will now invite the Secretariat to draft the terms of reference of the subcommittee and send it to members. Now the business of today, Transport Strategy Blueprint, LC Paper, CB Package 389 2026-04. We will now invite the administration to come in. In attendance of this item today, we have Ms. Mabel Zhang, Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Mr. Vic Yao, Permanent Secretary, Ms. Angela Lee, Commissioner for Transport, Mr. Patrick Wong, Assistant Commissioner, and Mr. Leung Sai-ho, also Assistant Commissioner for Transport. After the Secretary's speech, I will open the floor to members. Secretary, please. Good morning, Chairman and members. We are reporting to members today on the main contents of the Transport Strategy Blueprint and also our future planning layout. Now, the contents of the blueprint is rich, so I will give a brief introduction. And with the Chairman's permission, I will invite the Assistant Commissioner for Transport to brief members on the main strategies in the blueprint via a PowerPoint. Now, all along, we have been discussing matters in relation to transport at meeting of this panel. Public transport is the cornerstone of modern economy. It is also related to the daily life as well as the integration into the Bay Area. Now, in accordance with the latest land planning data, our team has formulated the Transport Strategy Blueprint to set out the future objectives and layouts of transport. We have set out short, medium to long-term strategies. For short term, it's 2026 to 7. For medium term, it's 2028 to 32. For the long term, it is in relation to 2033 to 40 and beyond, so as to provide economic boost to Hong Kong and also make our life more convenient. Now, we have adopted the dual innovation mindset of policy innovation and technological innovation to provide a visionary layout for transport in the future. We will also migrate towards smart and digitalize public transport. We will also facilitate the interconnectivity between people and logistics. Now, there are 3 main themes and 6 key strategies with 25 specific recommendations, which my colleague will go into the details in a moment. Now, with a macro and visionary perspective, we will also respond to people's actual needs to enhance the daily commuting convenience. Now, there are 10 key measures. Now, in 2026, there are already 27 measures which will be implemented within the year. I will highlight 10 of them now. First of all, infrastructure. We will strengthen the cross-boundary infrastructure. Under the 8 vertical and 8 horizontal corridors layout, we will fully commission the routes number 6 within the year, and also take forward the relevant major railway and road projects. We will conduct a study on the southern extension of the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail Link, Hongshui-Kiu to Qianhai. And also, we will create new and next-generation public transport interchange at the new development areas to connect the NDAs with the urban areas so as to facilitate the smooth travel of people and goods. The second strategy is also related to the 8 vertical and horizontal corridors layout. Now, with the increased traffic across the harbor, we will conduct a study that without the KYC artificial island, how we can expand the capacity of various cross-harbor infrastructure, including widening the tunnels and also other alignment options. The government will adopt an open attitude to conduct study based on the principles of people-centric and consensus, so that the future infrastructure option will be economically efficient and cost-effective. Now, we will also provide smart and green mass transit system in the Hongshui-Kiu NDA. For the Kai Tak project, we will offer a tender within the year. And for Hongshui-Kiu and East Kowloon, we will also start tendering within the year. Now, in terms of public transport system, our public transport system is the best in the world. More than 90% of daily passenger trips are made via public transport. Now, within the year, we will launch the trial route on demand-responsive public transport operation mode to allow efficient and flexible deployments of trains to meet demand. We will work with franchise bus companies to study application scenarios, for example, providing strengthened support during certain periods. Now, in terms of personalized point-to-point transport service, the first batch of licensee of online hail ride platform will start operation in the 4th quarter this year. They will complement the taxi trade to provide diversified point-to-point personalized transport. Now, for drivers, we will provide more parking spaces through single-site multiple-use strategy and also automated car parks. We are striving to complete the target set 2 years ago, that is to add an additional 1,200 private car and commercial car parking spaces within 2 years. We will also conduct a study on the demand and supply condition of parking spaces, specifically commercial vehicles, so as to achieve commercial vehicle having a parking space at night. In terms of technology, we will stay close to the development of AI and digitalization to make our transport more efficient. We will prepare for the launch of the first trial project of traffic management platform in the urban areas to provide more real-time information to commuters. Now, the Autonomous Vehicle Applications Promotion Group chaired by the Commissioner for Transport will be established to create a layout for public transport. And under the working group, Different departments and stakeholders will work together to formulate plans for trial of autonomous vehicles and also the relevant licensing issues for commercial operation of autonomous vehicles. Within the year, we will strive to launch the autonomous shuttle for the airport city link so as to automate the transport between the airports in the urban areas. We will also formulate the low-altitude economy action plan to create a low-altitude economy for the development of logistics trade. Now, for 20 projects under the sandbox involving less risk, for example, cleaning of building facade and also inspection of power cables, these trial projects will be kick-started within the year. Now, we will attach equal importance to drivers and pedestrians. We will improve the walking experience of pedestrians in the city. We will adopt the real-time adaptive traffic signal to determine the most suitable length of different light phases in response to demand. We will also provide more diagonal crossings and low-speed limit zones to facilitate road crossing by pedestrians. Now, the blueprint will provide impetus for economic development in the next 20 years through better transport. We also want to let members of the public feel that our blueprint is people-centric. We look forward to seeing that members of the public can view tangibly the benefits brought about by a better transportation network and a more walkable city. All in all, the Hong Kong SAR government will actively dovetail the National 15th Five-Year Plan. The measures set out in the blueprints are also measures which can dovetail the 15th Five-Year Plan. Through a macro infrastructure layout, we can attract technological companies from the country and overseas to Hong Kong to create a futuristic infrastructure system to support the highly efficient operation of this city and our economy, so as to give play to our mission as a super connector for the country. Chairman, I would now like to invite Mr. Leung Sai-ho, Assistant Commissioner for Transport, to brief members on the major strategies through the PowerPoint. Yes, members who would like to speak, please press the button. I will now invite the Assistant Commissioner to walk us through the PowerPoint. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Secretary. Good morning, members. I will now brief members on the key measures in the blueprint through a PowerPoint presentation. Now, first of all, the strategies of the blueprint is to implement a people-centric approach and strengthening connectivity with the mainland and the world, and also promote efficient travel and embrace a green lifestyle. Now, the Secretary has highlighted the main proposals in the blueprints. I will now go into the details. First of all, infrastructure. To strengthen Hong Kong as the gateway to the Bay Area and also as an international hub, we will implement the strategic projects set out in the blueprints to strengthen our transport layout and strengthen cross-boundary connectivity. In terms of railway, we will expand the 5 vertical corridors and 5 horizontal corridors layout. Now, the Tuen Ma Line, High-Speed Rail Line, Central Rail Link, and East Rail Line are the 5 vertical corridors. In the future, there will be the Northern Link Eastern Extension, and Northeast New Territories Line, and also the other lines. Those will be the horizontal corridors. In the future, the Central Rail Link and the Qianhai Rail Link will create some new horizontal corridors, linking Shenzhen to our urban areas. In the end, it will be a 5 vertical and 5 horizontal corridors rail layout. Now, in the future, the major road layout will be 3 vertical and 3 horizontal corridors. For the 3 vertical corridors, they include Route 11, Tuen Mun Road, which are the western corridors connecting new territories to the urban areas. And Routes 3 and Tai Lam Tunnel will provide a swift vertical channel. The Sha Tin Bypass, Total Highway, and Tai Po Road will form the eastern corridors. The three horizontal corridors are the three main axes from east to west. That include the route number 6, which will be commissioned this year, and also the Shantin Highway, Yuen Long Highway, and Fanling Highway, which will form the Route 9. They are the main artery in the northern metropolis.
And we also have the five vertical and five horizontal corridors, and 3 vertical and 3 horizontal corridors, making up an 8 vertical and 8 horizontal corridors grand layout. And we will also use this layout to set up transport interchange hubs and enhance public interchange facilities so that members of the public can enjoy the public transport network. Many members of the public are concerned about cross-harbor traffic. So before we have Kao-Yichou artificial islands, we will also consider different options in order to rationalize the traffic at cross-harbor tunnels. We will take into account technical feasibility, the fiscal position of the government, and so on. As I just now mentioned, we would construct the new transport interchange hubs. We make good use of the principle of one site, multiple use, and we provide different facilities in one site. In other words, these transport interchange hubs help members of the public to interchange. And we will also use passenger-centric design and intelligent management. We provide real-time information on public transport services and integrate with commercial facilities. The public will have improved commuting experience. We suggest in suitable NDAs in the northern metropolis, these transport interchange hubs will be constructed, including Hongshui-Q, Shantin, and so on. When it comes to the urban area, we will take the opportunities of urban renewal, and we will also construct transport interchange hubs in Hong Kong and Tai Lam Tunnel BBI. We are going to adopt more passenger-centric elements. And other main highlight of the blueprint is smart demand response public transport. We recommend, in addition to the conventional fixed route and fixed schedule, we will dynamically respond to passenger demand and add more alignments and routes. We collect the commuting demands from the mobile phones of members of the public. The public can provide information such as the points at which they get in a vehicle and get off a vehicle, as well as the routes that they need. Then we will provide real-time information on the roads. We will also adopt more efficient routes and flexible schedules in response to the demand of the public. This is a measure for offering flexible routes in more scattered routes. We want to benefit the public through these services. In the middle of this year, we will study the technical feasibility, and we will also liaise with transport operators. And we will consider introducing trial management in different routes, such as scenic routes. We will ride on the trend of AI and high-end technologies to improve traffic management. These are already being adopted, such as our licensing services. We have already turned it electronic. We will use big data and AI to promote the going smart of traffic services. We will take forward a traffic management platform to enhance digital traffic management. Let me give you an example. In emergencies, the platform can collect data and analyze these data to gauge the possible impact on the roads. Right now, we have information displayed on the road, and we want to divert traffic to less affected areas. We want to minimize the impact on traffic. We're going to kickstart studies this year, and we will prepare for a regional pilot application in urban areas, and we will consider extending these initiatives gradually to other districts. We will also take forward the real-time adaptive traffic signal system, RTATSS. We will use AI to gauge and project the flow of traffic and vehicles on the roads. This way, we can better manage the traffic at these junctions and pedestrian crossings. When there are passers-by waiting in the area near the pedestrian crossing, then the real-time adaptive traffic signal system will adjust the signals in order that passers-by can cross the roads. And we expect that the trial results show that the average waiting time at these junctions was reduced by about 5% to 10%. We have a plan to expand this system to about 50 suitable independent signalized junctions in the territory. We will also implement them at appropriate junctions in NDAs. We'll make the most of our highway resources in order to enhance the efficiency and the use of resources in Hong Kong. One of the initiatives is Smart Motorway. We greatly reduce incident detection time. We also significantly enhance the efficiency of incident handling and traffic management. We send warnings and messages earlier to motorists. We remind them of the impact nearby. We have already implemented Smart Motorway on Tinker Bridge, and the incident detection time has been reduced by nearly 90%. We can make better use of the highway space. Say on the 1st of September last year, when school started, we opened the hard shoulder for driving at that time. And the traffic increased by about 50%, and the average vehicle speed also went up by 20%. This successfully minimized or reduced the possible impact and likelihood of accidents. Autonomous driving is another initiative in order to promote the use of AVs. The Commissioner for Transport will chair the Autonomous Vehicle Applications Promotion Group. We work with different stakeholders to take forward the project. We will monitor the progress of the project, and we will also gauge the demand in society. We promote safe and orderly driverless and large-scale development of AVs and move towards commercial operation. We will draw reference from our experience, and together with stakeholders and industries, we will share our findings. We're going to promote commercial operation of AVs. Sky City Link will also be commissioned when it comes to the use of AVs. Right now, you can see the project being piloted in the Kai Tak area. In fact, Smart Transport Fund has already set aside funds to implement a project in different areas. And we are in talks about this project. In the Northern Metropolis, we are going to introduce more application scenarios to promote the use of AVs so that we can move towards commercial operation, and we can also go driverless, and we can promote large-scale deployment. Turning to the supply of parking spaces, we want to enable every commercial vehicle to have a parking space at night. In NDAs in the Northern Metropolis, we will set aside parking facilities for CVs. There is also a dedicated scheme for nighttime on-street parking for commercial vehicles in NDAs. Priorities will be given to the provision of parking spaces for commercial vehicles when taking forward public vehicle park projects in areas with high concentration of logistics activities. We're going to conduct a parking demand and supply study in order to ensure a proper match between the two. We expect to announce the results and recommendation in 2027. At the same time, we attach importance to parking provision for private vehicles. We will use automated parking system to increase parking provision for private cars. At the same time, we will develop the low altitude economy. Last March, we already announced the launch of 38 first batch regulatory sandbox projects. 32 projects have started within designated flight routes. Among them, over 20 projects have been or will be put into actual operation. In order to maximize the potential of these projects, we will progressively regularize certain application scenarios that are relatively mature, involve lower risks, and do not involve high volume of people or vehicles in the area. With the government's launch of the Advanced Regulatory Sandbox 6, it is expected that more application scenarios will be regularized in the future. At the same time, we make good use of INT to implement a people-centric concept. For example, we advocate a 15-minute neighborhood planning concept in NDAs. We want members of the public to either walk or cycle to reach different points in a city. And we will also promote the safe use of EMDs, that is electric mobility devices. We aim to promote a green, healthy, and vibrant travel experience through various initiatives in order to foster a safe and inclusive travel environment. Turning to pedestrians, we will set up diagonal crossings to make it convenient for pedestrians so that they can reduce walking distance and save time. As you can see on the screen, this is an area in Tsim Sha Tsui. We are setting standards and guidelines regarding diagonal crossings. We want to widen their applications. We plan to extend diagonal crossings to 15 additional suitable junctions, including the junctions near Prince of Wales Hospital, Shek Mun Station, and Chang Kwan No Station. We expect to complete these projects starting from 2026. Thank you. You covered a lot of contents. Thank you. I'd like to give members sufficient time to ask questions, but I'd like to let members know we have another item on the agenda. I will give more time for members to ask questions in this agenda item, and I will give members 4 minutes, questions and answers included. Please be brief. Thank you. Ms. Christine Fong, Mr. Mark Chong, Mr. Yu Ming, Kenneth Lau, Eric Yim, Dr. David Lam, Mr. Chen Siu Hong, Chao Siu Chung, Mr. Lam, Mr. Perry Yu, Mr. Cheng Pui Kong, Ms. Kwok Fu Yung, Mr. Tam Chen Kok, Mr. Aaron Bok, Ms. Vivian Kong, Mr. Alan Chen, Mr. Lee Chen Kang, and myself, a total of 19 members. Ms. Christine Fong, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to talk about the layout of 8 horizontal and vertical corridors. With the rationalization of the traffic at 3 cross-harbor tunnels, I can see improvement in traffic flow. But after all, there are a lot of vehicles in Hong Kong. Before we have Kao Yi Chau Artificial Islands planning, I do believe we need a 4th road harbor crossing. I'd like to know what the government is considering, such as the construction cost, alignment from the Western District to Lama, regarding providing parking spaces for commercial vehicles at night. It is indeed necessary. However, turning to private vehicles, we do need to provide parking provision for them as well, especially for 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. We need to provide parking provision. For Anderson and Tew King Lane, where areas there are fewer vehicles on the road, I believe we can turn them into parking spaces for vehicles to be parked in the evening. Will there be paid parking provisions? We have an electronic mode and we may consider it. Regarding the design of diagonal crossings, I welcome the government's initiative in Chang Kwan No, Po Yap Road, Prince of Wales Hospital, Tongshan Street in Chang Kwan No. You need to dovetail with your real-time study in the area. In addition to these 15 spots, such as Tongta Street, Tongshan Street, Tongming Street, Tongyun Street, Immigration Towers, I hope that the administration will consider rationalizing the traffic in these points. Regarding the real-time system for Clearwater Bay Road, there is oftentimes traffic congestion with tailback reaching Clearwater Bay Road and Silver Mine. Will you consider implementing the real-time adaptive traffic signal system? Thank you.
Secretary, thank you. Echoing the chairman's remark, the contents of the blueprint are very rich. For individual measures under the blueprints, we will consult the panel's views in the future. So I will first answer the first two questions of Ms. Christine Fong's briefly, and I will defer the other questions to the Commissioner. Now, on expanding the capacity of road harbor crossings, we need to adopt a forward-looking planning approach through the rationalization of the free tunnels and through the use of time-varying tolls via Hong Kong e-toll. We can streamline the traffic across the harbor at different time periods. Now, the Highways and Transport Departments will conduct an internal review on cross-harbor traffic. They will study previously proposed options. Now, with the absence of the KYC artificial island, we may have to expand the capacity of existing tunnels. And we will also study other alignments. We will study the technical feasibility and also the capacity of the surrounding roads, the future population growth and economic growth, and also cost effectiveness. For parking, we will also study past options and also adding more roadside parking spaces. Secretary, please supplement the information later. We are seriously overrunning. I would like to ask members to be as succinct as possible. Mr. Mark Chong. Thank you, Chairman. The transport strategy blueprint is something advocated for by the Round Table. Mr. Michael Tian and myself have made a lot of suggestions towards this blueprint. Now, the southbound vehicle scheme is very helpful for our economy, but we need to expand the southbound scheme gradually to more cities. Now, for the provision of dedicated quotas for southbound vehicles to Sunny Bay and Southern Lantau, we strongly support this idea because that would not affect urban traffic. Now, the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail link, Hongshui-Kiu to Qianhai, in the absence of the KYC artificial island, the road will not be extended southbound to Sunny Bay. I hope this rail link would link up Sunny Bay and Qianhai in the future to facilitate transport to the airport. Now, I'm pleased to see that in the blueprint, there will be a study on the future southern extension for the Hong Kong Shenzhen rail link Hongshui-Gu to Qianhai. It means that it will be connected to Sunny Bay in the end. So I would like to know when that will be. Now the fourth cross-harbour tunnel, that's necessary. Now with the commissioning of Route 11 in 2030, parts of the undersea works have been done. You just need to build another bridge buttress to make available another crossing. Now, I would like to see the capacity expanded soon because after the commissioning of Route 11 in 2036, the congestion will be serious. Now, I'm pleased to see that you will study the availability of nighttime roadside parking for commercial vehicles, so you should study that together with the trade. In terms of advanced booking for parking spaces via mobile app, now then you may trial the idea in So Kwun Fat in Tuen Mun for public minibuses. Secretary, first of all on southbound vehicle scheme. Now the scheme has just been extended to the urban areas in Hong Kong. The idea is to attract drivers from Guangdong province to park their vehicles in hotel parking spaces and convention and exhibition parking spaces. We are now gauging the feedback of the users and also the receiving organizations on their capacity. Now, the Hong Kong Shenzhen Western Rail Link there is a dedicated task force comprising both governments to take forward the railway. There will be room for extending the railway southwards. We will conduct study on that. The idea is to enhance the connectivity of the Hong Kong International Airport to the northern metropolis and cross-boundary railway network. In previous meetings of the panel, members have suggested similar options as well. Mr. Yu Ming. Thank you, Chairman. I welcome this forward-looking blueprint lasting 20 years. I have 3 questions. First of all, the new territory snob transportation network. On the 5th of February, there was a serious traffic congestion in Shanghai. The congestion lasted from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now, this is a photograph of the Shanghai Plaza interchange. The Taitao Lane and Kai Lane roundabouts were inundated. Now, the blueprint mentions a lot of things about strengthening the East Rail line and the Tuen Ma line and building next generation public interchange. So please address this issue in Shanghai. The Kai Lane and Taitao Lane roundabouts affects more than the residents in North District. The congestion would spill over to Fanling as well. So I suggested using a bypass to address this congestion issue in Kai Lane. So when will the Transport Department conduct works to build a bypass to tie in with the developments of the northern metropolis? Now, concerning the fares of Tuen Ma Line and East Rail Line, there has been the issue of more expensive fare for the east and less expensive fare for the west. These 2 lines are extremely crowded during peak hours. That may be because of fare concessions for the East Rail Line. So can we adjust the fare for the 2 mile line as well. Now about the Thailand Tunnel, can we enhance the environment for the interchange, for example, providing toilets or elevators? Secretary. 3 questions. First of all, concerning the congestion at roundabouts and spillover of traffic during peak hours. That's exactly why we would like to improve the road network and build more infrastructure to divert traffic from those locations. That includes building bypass, but of course that requires support from members and public money. Now the real-time traffic management platform will be trialed in certain areas. The first trial projects will be conducted in urban areas. We would consider trialing that project in certain strategic locations in New Territories North. Infrastructure is very costly and it takes time to build them. In terms of ticket prices for the 2 rail lines, during the annual fare review, we would discuss with the MTRC to adjust the fare level for various routes suitably. We can explore that further on other occasions. Now, concerning the Thailand Tunnel and the bus interchange, that is also our priority. We will enhance the interchanging facility. Now, after applying e-toll in Thailand Tunnel, we have freed up the toll plaza for expanding the bus interchange to improve the waiting areas and improving accessibility for pedestrians. So besides building new generation public interchange in the Northern Metropolis, we will also improve the public transport interchange and bus interchange. I will draw a line here because a lot of members have pressed the button. Mr. Kenneth Lau. Thank you, Chairman. The Transport Strategy Blueprint has laid out a reformative direction for short, medium, and long-term development of transport, including the low-altitude economy action agenda. That is to promote low-altitude economy, and also an autonomous vehicle promotion working group will be established. And also there will be more low-altitude economy projects trialed out. That is also something that the New Territories Rural Committee has been striving for. So I'm pleased to see the government showing determination to implement the strategy. It will upgrade and transform our public transport system and facilitate daily commuting and also dovetail national development. So my question is about low-altitude tourism routes. Now, in the sandbox, there are some 30 projects approved. Now, in terms of passenger-carrying drones, it seems that there are no projects in the sandbox in relation to that. So, under the framework of Sandbox X, can we trial out short distance drone tourism in Lantau and other boundary areas? Scenic flights should take place in the next few years. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Kenneth Lau, for supporting our strategies to use drones and AI to support the economy. Now, for low-altitude economy, we have launched the regulatory Sandbox X by the end of last year. That's an advanced pilot project. That's a follow-up to the 30 trial projects approved last year. We want to trial out cross-boundary logistics and passenger-carrying drones. Now, the Northern Metropolis is a great testing field for shuttlecock and the Lantau. As you suggested, there may be room for us to test out vertical drones, that is eVTOL, carrying passengers. We welcome interested parties to submit applications. We will first prioritize short-distance flights which are safer. So there are three principles. The first one, of course, is safety. Second, we will prioritize small-scale use of advanced technology. Thirdly, there should be supporting infrastructure and a suitable environment for the commercial operation of drones in the future.
有冇補充？
Thank you. Anything to add? No, thank you. Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the government for its introduction of the Transport Strategy Blueprint. It's rich in content. I have three questions. One, low-altitude economy. Just now we touched upon the pilot points. The government said that we need to foster an ecosystem of low-altitude economy that is highly competitive. The airspace in GBA is the resources over there are highly competitive. How can we ensure safety in the airspace management system in order that emergencies can be handled in an efficient and effective manner? I also look forward to increasing quotas when it comes to cross-boundary traffic. What about the mutual recognition of driving licenses among the three places, that is Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China? Do you have any concrete plans when it comes to the increase in the number of licenses? I'd also like to ask about the zero emission target of vehicles. What about the support for commercial vehicles so that we can meet the target of zero emission? Secretary, thank you. All these points have everything to do with the promotion of logistics development. When it comes to the low-altitude economy, we plan to publish the action agenda on the promotion of low-altitude economy. We expect to create an airspace management system in relation to the low-altitude economy. We also want to develop infrastructure. On this front, we are in talks with some units in the mainland China, including customs and other offices at the boundary control points. We expect to discuss how we can further collaborate with each other when it comes to connection. In relation to the mutual recognition of cross-boundary commercial vehicles in 2027, I will ask my colleague to give you more information in a moment. Regarding the use of new energy goods vehicles, in fact, we are working very closely with the Environment and Ecology Bureau regarding commercial vehicles dedicated to logistics purposes. I understand some enterprises are willing to assist in the logistics sector. They will use new energy goods vehicles so that we can achieve our goal of zero emissions and low carbon emissions. For Kuaiting goods terminal as well as other logistics facilities, we are also moving towards going green and going smart. Commissioner for Transport, thank you. Regarding the mutual recognition of cross-boundary goods vehicle licenses among 3 places. We have already been in talks with each other. We talked about the licensing regime as well as the class of vehicles, licenses, and test standards. We indeed think there is room for us to further collaborate with each other. We are going to hammer out the details when it comes to mutual recognition, and we will also consult the industry if we need to launch programs for adaptation. Dr. David Lam. For autonomous driving, of course, vehicles have their own systems, sensors, as well as positioning systems. What about regional management? That is there any regional management system that governs or manages all the vehicles within a district? Regarding personal electric mobility devices, I'd like to know the timeline. When can members of the public expect to use these EMD legally in Hong Kong, be it terminal or airport? There is no railway connecting these 2 points to other districts in Hong Kong. The goods terminal is detached from the local transport system. Is it the design of the transport network by the administration, or are there any other factors at play? Thank you, Dr. Lam, for your questions. Regarding autonomous driving, we are moving towards commercial operation. This is our goal. We need to set a clear roadmap. There is an autonomous vehicle applications promotion group chaired by the Commissioner for Transport. When there are regional passenger carrying services, we need to adopt a top-level approach whereby we can set up clear goals. We can also collaborate with different departments at the same time. That's why, when it comes to regional management, I believe this is one of the highlights of the working group. Regarding EMDs, that is electric mobility devices, our goal is to, by the end of this year, implement a regulatory regime to promote the use of EMDs by members of the public. We need to ensure convenience and safety. Within this year, we will consult the panel on transport. When it comes to shipping, when we construct heavy rails and cross-boundary railways, we are focusing on the promotion of traffic. At the same time, we have a well-connected road transport network, and we are moving towards a multimodal transport network. Sea, land, air, this is our focus. We want to achieve multimodal transport system. That's why, when it comes to the layout of railways, we will take into account the arrangements for road traffic arrangements, including barges, goods vehicles, so that we can improve the traffic when it comes to logistics. Thank you. Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I welcome the transport strategy blueprint with a clear vision by the Secretary for Transport and Logistics. As the Secretary mentioned, this is a forward-looking roadmap. It touches upon the 8 vertical and 8 horizontal corridors, layout, smart traffic, going green and low carbon, interactions and connections with the GBA. These are the highlights of the blueprint. There are also some important points, such as autonomous driving, low altitude economy, cross-boundary connections, and so on. I'm going to speak on the points that other members haven't yet touched upon. I'd like to talk about autonomous driving. By the end of 2026, the Secretary said that they want to look into the application of AVs, and I'd like to ask the Secretary, in your discussion with the Guangdong province, have you touched upon communications agreement, data security, roadside technology standards, Have you set up a coordination mechanism with the Guangdong side? And I also welcome the setup of the Autonomous Vehicle Applications Promotion Group. The Northern Metropolis is one of the ideal pilot points to implement autonomous driving. There is an arrangement for having a backup remote operator instead of a real operator in the vehicle. I'd like to know the conditions, criteria. How do you decide the relevant requirements comparing with Singapore? What is the difference? How are we different from Singapore? On the application of AV's autonomous vehicles, let us take a look at different jurisdictions around the world. Autonomous driving is gaining traction in different areas around the world. So I'd like to know how AVs will be incorporated into ride-hailing vehicles. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen's questions revolve around AVs. In fact, in the blueprint, there are different matters which have been discussed at the panel on transport. We have taken on board members' views. When it comes to autonomous driving, we want to go driverless. We have already accumulated experience and collected data through our pilot projects. In some areas, AVs will be implemented. There is also a back-end system. We have a safety operator right now just because we need to ensure safety. In the airport city link, we want to achieve driverless. From Tung Chung to Lemma Island or Kai Tak, we expect to go driverless by the end of this year. That is, we no longer have a backup operator in the vehicle. However, this doesn't mean that we do not have management of the situation. We definitely collaborate with the operators. We ensure that we provide sufficient protection with the operators. This is what we have already achieved in our pilots in other areas. On cross-boundary autonomous driving pilot projects, we have a task group where we work with the mainland counterparts. And in the Autonomous Vehicle Applications Promotion Group, we will do our best to provide a good environment for us to explore the use of cross-boundary AVs. Thank you. What about ride-hailing vehicles? Can the Secretary go over this question very quickly? Well, I'll be quick. In the AV application scenario, AV Applications Promotion Group, we are going to look at the licensing requirements, and this will exactly be the point from which we look at this issue. Mr. Chao Siu-chung, thank you. The lack of parking provisions is a long-standing issue in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, for every 3 commercial vehicles, there are only 2 parking spaces in Hong Kong that are legal. I'm glad to see that the Secretary will increase parking provisions for CVs. Without sufficient legal parking spaces in Hong Kong, do we have regular communication with law enforcement agencies? Will there be more flexibility or discretion when it comes to law enforcement? Say, if the vehicles do not obstruct traffic or passers-by, can the police be less strict? In paragraph 12 of the paper, it touches upon providing more parking spaces. That is to realize every commercial vehicle having a parking space at night. In the long term, it is expected that over 6,000 goods vehicle parking spaces will be provided. But this is vague. Do you have any clear KPI to share with us? In the long term, when? What is your plan? Can you explain your plan to us? My third point is that in 2026, the document touches upon a demand and supply study in relation to parking. I hope that the Secretary will consult stakeholders, associations of drivers. You do need to take into account the needs of goods vehicle drivers. I hope you will stay in tune with the public and you will take on board their views. Thank you.
Secretary, thank you, Mr. Chao Siu-chung, for your questions. Indeed, shortage of parking space is a long-standing issue which needs systematic approach to tackle. Now, there are two parts to this question. For commercial vehicles, we will conduct the demand and supply study for parking spaces within the year, the results of which will be announced in 2027. The study will take 1 year. And also, the departments and our colleagues will engage the stakeholders and the drivers concerning available locations for parking spaces and also their needs, so as to achieve the ultimate target for every commercial vehicle to have a suitable parking space at night. So that's for meeting their actual operational needs. We will set a standard for nighttime parking spaces for commercial vehicles. Now, the target set in the blueprint is to show that we are determined to achieve the goal. We will rely on the empirical data obtained from the study for the way forward. Now, for certain districts with serious illegal parking due to insufficient parking spaces, they will be our priority. And for cross-boundary goods vehicles, they may be parked outside Hong Kong for certain hours, so we will study the matter with the industry to understand the needs. Mr. Lothier Lam, thank you. I support the overall direction of the blueprint. My several concerns involve the linkage between the northern metropolis and the urban areas, including linkages with the ports and the airports. After the northern metropolis is developed, if there is no linkage to the Hong Kong International Airport, many people will go to the Shenzhen Airport to travel abroad. And also, there is an urgent need to provide new arrangements for loading and unloading operations in urban areas. Now, because of e-commerce, there are lots of goods vehicles conducting unloading operation in urban areas, and they would be given a fixed penalty ticket by the police. And also, some private housing estates would fine these drivers for illegal parking. So that would add to the logistics costs. This is something that we need to address soon. And also, we need to speed up the mutual recognition of driving license with the Guangdong provincial governments, because that will address the shortage of cross-boundary drivers effectively. Secretary, Thank you. Concerning the linkage between the Northern Metropolis and the airport, besides considering options for extending the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail link southwards, in the blueprint we've also mentioned enhancing passenger experience for the high-speed rail network. Now, there is a tripartite collaboration between the governments, the Hong Kong Airports Authority, and the MTRC to conduct a trial project to transport luggages and even passengers with driverless vehicles. That's our strategy to link up the railway network with the airport. Now, in urban areas and various locations in the new territories, bearing in mind our scarce land resources, we will try to meet the demand for parking spaces in these areas. In terms of loading and unloading operations, the transport departments and the police will work together to meet the logistics trade's need without affecting the traffic. Now, for private housing development, we will communicate with the management companies soon. Private housing developments are responsible for management of traffic within their areas, so the issue is more complicated. Concerning the autonomous vehicle application promotion group, we will invite applications from the trade, and also the government will take the lead to conduct trial projects in certain areas to get things started. Mr. Perry Yu, Deputy Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the Secretary for responding explicitly to our demand for extending the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail link southwards. As we all know that under the 14th Five-Year Plan, Hong Kong has been given the clear positioning of an international logistics and maritime hub. So we need to develop our strength in this aspect. We need a 3D multimodal transportation model, including air, land, and sea. Now, this blueprint focuses more on improving the public transport network. They're also mentioning of air transport, but what about sea transport? There should be a dedicated chapter in the blueprint to improve the sea transport on both sides of the Victoria Harbour and also outlying islands to promote island hopping tourism. We need better sea transport for the outlying islands to promote island tourism and island hopping. So I think we need a concept of tourism transport. Now, open-top buses are very popular for tourists. Maybe we can extend the service areas from urban areas to rural areas as well, so as to implement the idea of tourism is everywhere. So on the basis of Blueprints 1.0, can we have all the things I've mentioned above? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Perry Yu. The blueprint covers a wide range of issues, so we have not neglected the points you have mentioned. I don't have the page number right now, but there is a page, or there is a part in the blueprint providing directions for ferry transport and sea transport. In terms of improving sea transport, there are several targets. we need to fulfill daily commuting demand for local residents and also for tourists. And we need to ensure that the model is financially sustainable. And also, we have to bear in mind the developments of new energy transport, including new energy ferries. So that requires cross-departmental collaboration. Third, boarding facilities. Now we have ferry piers and also public landing facilities. The CDD and the Transport Department and the Development Bureau as a whole has an overall strategy for developing landing facilities and sea transport. Now for tourism transport, we had a water taxi route plying between the WKCD and Central that has been very popular. We are also adding pet-friendly water taxis as well. Now we are also studying provision of real-time information of open-top buses and water taxis via mobile phone apps. Mr. Zhang Pui Kong, thank you. My first question is whether the green mass transit system for East Kowloon can start tendering in the first half of this year. Now, second, infrastructure requires highly efficient financing options and a financially sustainable model, and I don't see any mentions of that in the blueprint. So in terms of the management and financing models for new railway projects, are there any ideas? Now the railway plus property model, is that still feasible? Are there other alternative financing options? And finally, because of the sheer number of railways to manage, the government has mentioned the idea of establishing a railway development office. So are you still considering to establish this RDO, Railway Development Office? Without this office, with so many railways and so many different operators, how will you manage the railways in Hong Kong? Secretary, thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your questions in relation to railways management and also the smart green mass transit system. I would defer that question to the Permanent Secretary concerning the development and financing of future railway projects. We have reached an agreement with the MTRC, and we are now taking forward a series of heavy rail projects. We have also enhanced the railway plus property development model so that the MTRC can take forward railway and property development projects together. The advantage is that the cash flow and the development timetable for railway can tie in with the property development projects. And we will propose a new standard for railway in the future by adopting the country's standard and also some European and American standards. That will help keep the building costs down and make our projects more cost-effective. That will help us take forward a number of projects simultaneously. Now, for key cross-boundary railway projects like the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Railway, we will adopt the open tender model. So besides awarding the contract to MTRC, we will also invite tender application from other contractors to give us more choice.
Permanent Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Just now we talked about the smart and green mass transit system. There are a few projects being taken forward, including the one in Kai Tak, Hong Shui Kiu Hachuen NDA, Kowloon East, and Hong Kong Island West. In these areas, we are implementing the smart and green mass transit system. They have better slope gradient capabilities, and they're also cheaper. Now, when it comes to the Kai Tak system and the Hong Shui Kiu Hachuen NDA, we expect commissioning in 2031. As for Kowloon East and Hong Kong Island Southern Line West, we expect to take forward the project and commission it in 2033 to 34. In the interim, when we identify room for expediting the projects, we'll definitely move faster. At present, we are inviting tenders regarding the Kai Tak project. Thank you, Ms. Kwok Foo-yong. Thank you. I thank the administration for walking us through the transport strategy blueprint. There is a clear roadmap for the transport network in Hong Kong. I'd like to ask about the real-time traffic signal system. In older areas, whenever fire breaks out because of traffic congestion in the area, emergency vehicles may find it difficult to access the accident area. In 2026, at 50 junctions, the real-time adaptive traffic signal system will be implemented. I'd like to ask the administration, in conducting smart motorway, will you consider working with different departments such as the FSD to implement an Internet of Things detection system whereby adjustments can be made? This is exactly how we can implement smart city management with different bureaus and departments. And I also like to ask about the low speed zone, where the speed is capped at 30 kilometers per hour. In older areas where there are more senior citizens and students, probably there are roads near residential care homes for the elderly and schools. We need to pay special attention to safety in these areas. Not many members of the public are aware of the low speed limit zones where the speed is capped at 30 kilometers per hour. How will you ramp up publicity efforts? Do you have any timetable? Thank you. Secretary, I'd like to ask the Transport Department to reply to members. Thank you. Commissioner or Assistant Commissioner? Commissioner, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to talk about the real-time adaptive traffic signal system. At present, we aren't implementing this system yet. However, for roads near fire stations, when fire engines need to respond to calls, there are already systems whereby adjustments are made. We want to help emergency vehicles to have priority of the road by making adjustments to the traffic signal system. Regarding low speed limit zones, there are already at present some pilot sites for roads near schools, wet markets, or in areas with more senior citizens. These are exactly the areas we target. We want to make use of these low speed limit zones. For zones where the vehicle speed is capped at 30 kilometers per hour, even if there are accidents, the extent of injuries can be significantly reduced. Going forward, for areas near wet markets or schools, or for areas with more seniors, we will implement more low speed limit zones. For areas meeting this criteria, we will implement low speed limit zones. When we have more details, we will let members know. Thank you. Mr. Tam Chan Kwok, thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the transport strategy blueprint announced last week. It connects the Northern Metropolis and Hong Kong. It gives full play to the advantages of the Northern Metropolis. There are short, medium to long-term action suggestions. We have been striving for these. I'm glad to see the announcement on these policies. There are some issues I'd like to ask about. For example, in the Northern District, traffic congestion is very serious. Regarding the real-time adaptive traffic signal system, will the administration consider drawing reference from the pilot project in Tung Chung Town Center in 2024? Will the administration consider using this system in Tin Shui Wai, Kailang Roundabout, or the Northern District? Will you consider using these systems in these areas? In the future, when there is traffic congestion or any emergency, we can make good use of this system. In Tin Shui Wai, light rails have the right of way on the roads. Some drivers complained that they oftentimes need to wait for a long time before they can move. How can the administration solve the problem? Regarding diagonal crossings, I'm all for them. Indeed, they can help members of the public to cross the roads more easily. However, there is only one place in NT North where we can see diagonal crossings. For different roads in Changshui, such as the one off Changshui swimming pool, will the government consider implementing more diagonal crossings in order to provide convenience to the public? Thank you. Secretary. Well, I know people in Hong Kong are looking forward to diagonal crossings. They do want to have diagonal crossings in different areas. In the blueprint, it talks about this. It mentions 15 spots where there are more pedestrians, traffic, and so on. For roads near MTR stations or important facilities, I conducted site visits. Based on my observation, I saw pedestrians or passers-by crossing the roads diagonally. Without affecting busy traffic, we need to shorten the time for pedestrians to cross the roads. Then we can better manage traffic, especially at intersections or junctions. These are very important. I'd like to give the floor to the Commissioner to explain. Thank you. Mr. Leung. Thank you. Indeed, the real-time adaptive traffic signal system can indeed smooth the traffic in areas with more traffic and people flow. I'd like to give you more details. For the places with 50 suitable independent signalized junctions, the traffic hasn't saturated yet in these intersections. We used the real-time adaptive traffic signal system to better control the signals. For the one in Tung Chung, it's more special. Its system is more complicated by independent signalized junctions. We need to spend more time on analyses. I thank members for providing more suggestions to us, and in our work in the future, we'll consider expanding it to even more places and junctions. Thank you. Mr. Aaron Bok, thank you. Thank you, the government, for announcing the transport strategy blueprint. It adopts a people-centric approach. Thank you. Of course, we need to expedite the development of different railway projects, such as the Hong Kong-Shenzhen West Rail Link Timon Bypass, Route 11, and so on. We also need to consider extending the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Rail link to Sunny Bay. Regarding using AI and technologies to implement the smart traffic management, I hope that it will be commissioned as soon as possible. We do need to catch up. We are moving at a snail's pace. We need to consider piloting the commercial operation of autonomous driving in the Northern Metropolis. It is indeed an ideal place to implement the pilot projects. When it comes to the low-altitude economy, is it possible to relax the criteria? Can we allow drones weighing between 7 kgs and 25 kgs to conduct commercial operations in the Northern Metropolis, such as the cleaning of external walls of buildings, property management, and so on? In Victoria Harbour, is it possible to have unmanned drones scenic flights? At present, helicopter scenic flights cost about $5,000 to $6,000. In addition, I hope that road shoulders will be opened at peak hours for normal operation, and I hope that this will be extended to different highways. This is all about smart traffic management. Regarding the 4th road harbor crossing, is it possible to, by the end of this year, announce policies? Is it possible to expand the capacity of existing road harbor crossings? If it is possible, you do need to start planning as soon as possible because traffic congestion is serious right now. Regarding Guangdong vehicles heading south, the quota is indeed not enough at present. We need to stimulate the local economy. Thank you. Secretary, thank you. Well, Mr. Bok wants us to enhance our speed. Yes, we've heard you loud and clear. We will expedite all projects. Regarding Tinglong Bridge and Route 11, they are vital to the connection to the city center in Hong Kong. Oftentimes we talk about the Route 11. As we know, it is an important infrastructure project. Design, financial implications. We want to identify the most important stretch of the road. For example, we want to promote the construction or development of Tinglong Bridge at full steam. This will help us support the development of the Northern Metropolis. That's why we're working very hard to expedite this project. Regarding the use of AI in the low-altitude economy, my team and I visited different areas in the Chinese mainland. As for real-time traffic management platform and smart motorway, I'd like to use the example of Tinkau Bridge to give you more information. It's a pilot scheme, and we are looking forward to extend it to other areas. For the extension project of Santine Highway, we will draw reference from this experience. We want to open the hard shoulder for driving. Regarding tunnels, we want to expedite our studies into the technology, feasibility, and so on. We take into account the existing conditions of tunnels. In expansion projects, is there any room to expand it? We will conduct internal reviews and then we will look into it. Thank you. Ms. Vivian Kong. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Secretary. The blueprint touches upon the resilience of government infrastructure against inclement weather. This will reduce impact on the public, especially when it comes to disruption to public services on the part of visitors. Their itinerary arrangements and safety are affected. When inclement weather warnings are in fact, how does the government ensure speedy dissemination of weather information and traffic information to visitors? Will the administration consider having a joint reporting mechanism with the transport sector so that visitors will be informed of inclement weather information? We need to maintain our image as an international tourist hub. Thank you.
Secretary, I would defer to the Commissioner for Transport to share the existing practice on disseminating information to tourists through information technology. Commissioner, please. Yes, we are extremely concerned about the impact of extreme weather on our traffic conditions. So we have a 24-hour emergency coordination center under the Transport Department. Whenever there are extreme weathers and extreme road conditions, the Transport Department will coordinate public transport operators, and we will disseminate information to tourists whenever there are incidents affecting our major transport routes. And we have the Hong Kong e-mobility app as a centralized platform for dissemination of information through media outlets, and also the airports authority for passengers in the airports. We will also disseminate real-time information to tourists to notify them of the emergency arrangements. Now, in the blueprints, there is an upcoming public transport information platform. The traffic management platform will be used to obtain traffic data and also for timely dissemination of information. Now, with the data, we can forecast the impact of extreme weather on certain roads, so we can make use of the platform to provide more accurate prediction on certain scenarios. And concerning Ms. Vivian Kong's suggestion to communicate more with this trade for information dissemination, please take note of that. Next, Mr. Alan Chen. Thank you. I have one comment and two questions. Now, first of all, I congratulate the Secretary because I think the blueprints is really a breath of fresh air. There are 3 main themes, 6 key strategies, and different action agendas, including the short-term work plan for 2026. There are objectives set for the short, medium, and the long term. It is also a great starting point for public discussion. So my two questions are, first of all, expanding the eligibility of the southbound travel scheme to Hong Kongers. Now, the targets as of now are the cities in the Guangdong province. According to the blueprints, within half a year, the government plans to extend the scheme to other Guangdong provinces, to other cities in the Guangdong province. Now, the 15th five-year plan points out that Hong Kong needs to serve the interests of Hong Kongers living in the mainland and facilitates their development. Now, some 1/7 of our population are living in the mainland. So besides visitors, is the southbound travel scheme open to Hong Kongers in the mainland as well? Now, there are 100 quotas, but on average, there are some 8,700 cars coming from the north. The ratio is 1 to 86. So will the government drastically increase the amount of quota places? Now, for the Western Corridor, that is the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, will the government open quotas for the southbound vehicle scheme for the Shenzhen ports? Now, concerning connectivity for the railway. Now, for the southern extension of the Hong Kong Shenzhen Western Rail Link Hongshui Q to Qianhai, will the government study the feasibility of extending the connectivity of the rail from the Shenzhen airport to the Hong Kong International Airport? Now, Mr. Alan Chan, please leave some time for the Secretary. Well, I hope the Shenzhen airport can become the mainland route airport for our flights industry, and because there are some 1,000 flights from Hong Kong to the mainland every day. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Alan Chan, for your support. We will do our best to be people-centric and as forward-looking as possible. Now, concerning the innovative measure of southbound travel scheme, there is a management document agreed by the two governments. Eligible applicants must be Shenzhen residents with the relevant licenses. So we will enhance and optimize the scheme on that basis. Mr. Alan Chan mentioned expanding the scheme to Hong Kongers living on the mainland. We have heard your view and we will consider your suggestion. In terms of adjusting the quota, in the coming half year, we will extend the scheme to several more cities. Now, the automated car park run by the Airport Authority for park and ride purposes will also be made available to vehicles under the southbound vehicle schemes. So in terms of diversion of traffic and also a receiving capacity, we will consider adjusting the quota upwards in the future. Now, for different ports, with the southbound vehicle scheme, we can maximize the use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. On whether we can extend the scheme to other ports, we will consider that suggestion after considering a number of factors. Secretary, please be mindful of the time. Next, Mr. Michael Lee. Thank you. Now, with the expansion of the 5 vertical and 5 horizontal corridors, how can the government strike a balance between railway and non-railway transportation modes to ensure that other transportation modes will not be outcompeted? For example, public minibuses and buses. Now, concerning the 2050 zero-emission goal, how can we speed up the transformation of our public transportation system? Now, on parking, I welcome the timetable for conducting the new demand and supply study for parking spaces. And what are the long-term goals for non-franchised buses and school buses and other coach buses? What will be the parking arrangements for them? Now, for the conditional trial of autonomous vehicles, according to some online ride-hailing platform, they will launch driverless taxis as soon as 2026. If that can be realized, then we can overcome the shortage of taxi drivers. But will they have to apply for a taxi license all the same? Now, for electric mobility devices, the blueprints mentioned that there will be some policy measures involving cycling tracks. Now, on the roads, there are already a lot of electric mobility devices zooming around and breaking traffic laws. The riders do not wear reflective vests and other safety equipment as well. So the government strengthen law enforcement and strengthen the legislation to prevent accidents from happening, especially at night. Secretary, there are 5 questions. First of all, I will focus on the future public transport layout and ecosystem. In Hong Kong, more than 90% of passenger trips are made via public transport. We are the world-leading city in terms of public transport. Now, in the future, we will continue to use railway as the backbone and supplement by other means of transport, including personalized point-to-point transport and other road transport. Now, in the future, buses and other means of transport, including online hail ride, will play their respective roles. So that's why the blueprint proposes a smart public transport system or smart traffic management system. Say, for example, buses. In addition to the existing routes and service level, with technology, we can gauge the demand and meet transport demand from passengers in remote areas and during certain hours. That is something that cannot be provided by heavy rails. Now, for non-railway public transport, for example, the transformation and upgrading of public minibuses and buses, using technology and new energy to enhance the efficiency and promote migration towards zero emission. The Transport Bureau and the EEB have different measures for that. In the future, we will report to members concerning these measures. Concerning the licensing requirements for driverless vehicles and electric mobility devices, we will report to members and introduce our proposals in details in the future. Chairman, a follow-up question. Concerning the other issues in relation to public transport, would the government consider providing a single app for, say, hailing a ride or accessing information on the availability of buses and so on? Thank you. Next, Ms. Julia Lau. Thank you. I applaud the blueprint. I would like to say to the government, keep up with the good work. Now, my question is on-demand transport. Now, to tie in with the 15th Five-Year Plan, smart travel, and people-centric concept, can the government consider allowing ferry tickets plying between urban areas and outlying islands online and make available online purchase and booking for these ferry tickets? That would be very convenient for visitors. Can we provide more shuttles and smart transport between urban areas and the rural areas? Now, the Rural Committee has suggested organizing a smart transport fair as well. So during festivities, we always see a lot of long queues as the piers waiting for ferries to Discovery Bay and other outlying islands like Lemon Island and so on. According to the elderly passengers, they feel very tired queuing for a ship going back home on Discovery Bay. So can we conduct a systematic trial to see if we can improve the transport arrangement? I hope there can be a timetable. At the very least, the government should ask the ferry company to provide such services on license renewal. Now, on electric, sightseeing ferries. Sightseeing ferries is an industry in Scandinavian countries. I think we need to develop this business as an industry. Now, the blue and green tourism in Yanzhou is also part of the 15th Five-Year Plan. We need investors to invest in electric sightseeing ferries. And that would be beneficial to the economy in Hong Kong as well. So I hope the government can consider this suggestion.
Secretary, thank you. Let me respond in brief. I thank Ms. Lau for her support. will definitely move faster when it comes to boats in the Northern Europe or in Shanghai. I saw electric sightseeing boats. They are for commuting purposes and they also cater for the needs of visitors. In the interest of time, I'd like to ask the TD to provide more information on smart public transport. Assistant Commissioner, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lau, for your questions. In the blueprint, when it comes to the on-demand system, boats, buses, we liaise very closely with operators. We use technology to project and anticipate traffic demand. Say for festivals, peak hours, we project the increase in public demand. We have been doing this. We do use technologies. As the Secretariat just now said, for individual time slots or for fluctuating demands, we try to use technologies to ensure that the remaining services are put to good use. Thank you. Next, Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chairman. I welcome the Transport Strategy Blueprint. I know the administration has made a lot of efforts on it. For the railway between Hongshui-Q to Tianhai, or I'm actually more concerned about the one from Hongshui-Q to Tumun East to Sunny Bay. I've asked a lot of times. I hope that you can kickstart the study first. At present, from Hongshui-Q to Tianhai, if we have the connection from Hongshui-Q to Tumun East to Sunny Bay, residents in Tumun will have more options because of the increase in the population. And for people in Tianhai, they can take a flight, come to Hong Kong, and then there will be more transport options for them. This is another economic benefit. When it comes to the interchange in Tai Lam Tunnel, we talked about the retrofitting of a lift. In Kam Tin, Pat Hung, there are more and more people. We see an increase in the foot traffic. We need to redevelop the facilities over there. This is actually a good opportunity for us to do so. Is it possible for you to retrofit a lift faster? When it comes to the counting down devices for traffic lights, I asked an oral question last year. I know in some areas this system is being piloted. Do you have the findings or the result of the study? In some areas, seniors cannot even cross half of the roads, but then the traffic signals or the pedestrian lights have already turned red. If you have the latest update or the arrangements or findings about this issue, can you let us know? Thank you. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Holden Chow, for your questions and views. First of all, as for the southern extension of Hongshui-Q Tianhai Railway, we will explore this idea in a proactive manner. When there are different demands and public calls, we take into account these calls at the same time. Right now, we are working on the Hongshui-Q Tianhai Railway project full steam ahead. We want to make it possible to extend southwards. When there are viable options, we can plan ahead for our future. Regarding the BBI at Tai Lam Tunnel, I conducted a site visit. I'm concerned about this. With the launch of Hong Kong e-mobility, I hope there will be more interchange facilities for franchise buses. I also want to improve the waiting areas. As Mr. Chow just now mentioned, There are senior citizens who wait for public transport over there. We want to make it easy for seniors in the city to access these public interchange facilities more easily. This has to do with the smart transport hubs or transport interchange hubs. I will liaise with the TD to see how we can move faster. Just now, Mr. Chow talked about other devices such as the countdown devices for traffic lights. Regarding the pedestrian countdown signal, I hope that the TD will keep its mind open. We need to take into account the commuting patterns of pedestrians. What about children? What about seniors when they cross the roads? We need to conduct site visits. We need real-world data. We need to keep moving with the times. Thank you. I'm the last one to ask. I understand the administration has spent much time on the transport strategy blueprint. There was consultation in between. This blueprint is very detailed. It's forward-looking. I have some suggestions. Regarding tunnel portals, there are service stations on highways in other areas. Well, we do want to have a range of facilities like toilets, refreshment kiosks, and charging facilities. We can actually incorporate commercial elements into these service stations. Earlier on, I published a document about enhancing the service stations and public interchange facilities in Hong Kong. This report touched upon the 4th Road Harbour crossing. With the commissioning of the Northern Metropolis, a lot of people will have to travel from north to south and from south to north. That's exactly why it is necessary to have the 4th Road Harbour crossing. When will you conduct the studies? Regarding the railway, we have south-north connection with the Central Rail link. We can use the Central Rail link to act as a buffer whenever any accident happens on other railways. We can see your plan, but there is no timeline as yet. Given its importance, can we make it on our agenda? Regarding Hongshui-Q Qianhai Railway, if in the south there is no traffic connection to the airport, this will hinder the development of the local airport. I hope that the government will explore how to connect between the south and the airport. Secretary, thank you. Regarding the southern extension of the Central Rail link, in the panel on transport and in the subcommittee on matters relating to railways, I believe we can dig deeper into this topic. Turning to the Central Rail link, well, according to a document which we released earlier, that is the Hong Kong Major Transport Infrastructure Development Blueprint, the Central Rail link is very important. We are working on fleshing out the details, financial arrangements, and so on. In the future, we look forward to sharing more with members, especially in relation to the 8 vertical and 8 horizontal corridors grand layout. Regarding the southern extension of Hongshui-Q Qianhai Railway, This issue was mentioned by different members today. In the formulation of this blueprint in the past 1 to 2 years, we have been tapping members as well as the public's views. We pool collective wisdom. At the same time, we will consider southern extension of the railway, and when we have further updates, I look forward to sharing these updates with members. Regarding the 4th Road Harbor Crossing, I can see your support and expectations. This is a very serious project. It's vital to our future. We need to conduct phased studies well, including demand, population, economic development, land demands, traffic conditions. We need to come up with a plan that is cost effectiveness. We need to come up with an efficient plan. The layout is very important. Definitely we will proceed in a cautious manner. By the end of this year, we will have an internal study regarding tunnel portals such as Tai Lam Tunnel or even the Cross Harbor Tunnel in Hong Kong. We will take opportunities of redevelopment to consider how to improve the portals of tunnels. We have KPIs in the short, medium to long terms. We have factored in these areas and we will move towards our target. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, your team as well. This is the end of this agenda item. I will extend this meeting by 15 minutes. Let's move on to the next agenda item, Universal Accessibility Program, UAP. For those who would like to ask questions, please press the button to request to speak. 5 members. 6. Please be seated. We have with us Ms. Amy Wong, Deputy Secretary, Ms. Lam Yuk Ting, Principal Assistant Secretary, Mr. Patrick Ng, Project Manager from the Highways Department, Mr. Wong Wai Kwong, Chief Engineer from the Highways Department, and Mr. Lee, Senior Engineer from the Highways as well. I'll give the floor to Ms. Amy Wong. Well, I have an opening remark, but in the interest of time, I will ask the Highways Department to brief members on the UA program using PowerPoint slides. All right? Which one will walk us through the UA program? Mr. Wong, will you? Thank you.
Okay,
When you're ready, Mr. Wong. Please be brief. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members. Going forward, I will brief members on the UA program. I will touch upon its latest updates as well as our work plan in 2026 to 2027. In August 2012, the government launched the UA program. The government has also expanded it in order to cover more walkways. Under the UA program, the operation has been smooth, as at the end of 2025, a total of 270 projects have been completed, accounting for 71% of the total number of projects, and the remaining projects will be completed in the coming few years. In order to expedite the remaining projects of the UA program, the Highways Department will continue to implement a series of enhancement measures to enhance project management and efficiency, including pre-construction works planning, the management and the adoption of MIC, as well as the implementation of the Smart Site Safety System. In addition, we have been working very hard to optimize design, cleaning, and maintenance work. We have already optimized the design of lifts, including nano self-cleaning coatings and nanofiber filters. We aim to enhance the hygiene and cleanliness of lift towers. In new lift cars, there will be soft floor mats. They are easy to clean. That's why we will use these mats. There are also touchless buttons in the lifts. There will also be sidewall control panels as well as reflective panels. They aim to provide convenience to wheelchair users.
In order to create a more convenient and accessible walking environment, we will conduct trials on the smart control system for lifts. That's the Lift Intelligence Access Systems. Please watch this video. We are now trialing out the Lift Intelligence Access Systems. The external sensors will sense your presence and call the lift to the waiting floor. After entering the lift, you don't have to press any button. The door will close automatically and take you to your floor. Now, besides enhanced design, we have been communicating with the stakeholders, including the district councils and the relevant committees, as well as the relevant property owners and the management organization, and also NGOs, including rehabilitation organizations and also persons with disabilities. As the next step, we will obtain community support for universal accessibility items. Now, starting from this year, the Highways Department will conduct a feasibility study to install lift towers for suitable public walkways. Now, there are some 100 items fulfilling the eligibility criteria of the University Accessibility Program. We will take forward these concepts, these items, in phases. Now, we will adopt the mindset of holistic planning and phased implementation. First, we will collect views from the district council and select appropriate locations in the district. Under holistic planning, we will identify suitable lift projects and relocate the underground facilities in advance. For the phased implementation, we will take forward the lift projects according to different progresses. Now, in the past, we would migrate from the design stage to the construction phase. And during the construction phase, the contractor will relocate the underground facilities beforehand. However, according to past experience, usually the contractors would find that the locations of underground facilities like water pipes and sewage are different from the original plans, so that would affect the progress of the construction. Under the new construction model, during the detailed design stage, we will also relocate the underground facilities in tandem. After completion of the relocation, the contractors can start the ground formation work directly, and through MIC, the lift towers can be built quickly for public use. Now, in year 2026 and 2027, the estimated budget for the UA program is $1,123.32 million, with some $1 billion spent on existing projects. Some $38 million would be spent on new projects and site formation works. Thank you. Thank you very much. There are 9 members, so 15 minutes is not enough. I would like to seek members' views. Is it agreeable for me to extend the meeting to 11 o'clock? Thank you. So I will give you each 3 minutes. According to the Rule 83A, if you have direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to this item, please disclose the nature of such interest before you speak. The members are Mr. Holden Chow, Michael Lee, Chen Siu-hung, Mark Chong, Perry Yu, Ms. Christine Fong, Mr. Aaron Bog, Lufia Lam, Ms. Kwok Fu-yong, and Julia Lau. I will draw a line here. Holden Chow, 3 minutes. Thank you, Chairman. We support the Universal Accessibility Program. I thank the governments. Now, NF130, the lift tower in Yuen Long, that's the lift on Fengchang Road in Yuen Long. Now, previously, I consulted the Permanent Secretary because that lift tower project may overlap with a MTRC project. So I thank the Permanent Secretary or Principal Assistant Secretary for conducting a site visit with me. And now we are happy to see that the progress of this lift project is smooth. So thank you for helping us to coordinate the project. Now, the Universal Accessibility Program has been implemented for many years. So each district can propose projects to be prioritized. Now, for the lift tower as the public transport interchange as Typo Road, I have been calling for that for many years. Now, of course, you need to consult the local stakeholders in terms of setting priorities. Now, this lift tower as the Tai Lam Tunnel public interchange is not given top priority. But we are seeing more and more people using the public interchange. For those people who are wheelchair-bound and elderly people, it is very difficult for them to walk on the slope. So there is a need to add a lift tower there. Now, the government mentioned that the interchange might be redeveloped. Well, even if that's the case, we need to prioritize building a lift tower there because that is also relevant to future development. Please study this option. Deputy Secretary. Yes, we have, but this is not an item under the Universal Accessibility Program. That's part of the upper slope escalator connectivity program, but that's a pretty large project, so we will study this suggestion. Yes, please take a macro view when you consider this. Next, Mr. Michael Lee. Now, we all know that the Universal Accessibility Program is very popular. For those of us who have been district councillors, we know that clearly. Now, for SH78, for the footbridge, that was something that I have proposed when I was a district councillor. But there are long queuing for the lifts, especially elderly people. Now, with a large number of users, in particular elderly pedestrians, can you consider adding one more lift? Now, whenever there are malfunctioning of lifts, the service pledge is to fix it within 72 hours. But there are some cases where the lifts are still broken after 2 months. And for certain areas, there are lots of instances of water dripping. Now, because of the exposure to the elements, the ceilings have peeled off, and that's why there are lots of water dripping instances. So please fix those lifts as soon as possible. Deputy Secretary, thank you, member, for your support. Now, on whether we can add one more lift for locations with high demand, we will consider that. Now, for the 100 items that we are adding, we will consult District Council views in due course and ask for their priority. Concerning maintenance and repair, now the repairing work is conducted by the EMSD. Like the paper has said, over the past year, for maintenance projects without changing parts, 98% of cases were completed within 24 hours, even for those with longer repair time. 89% of those requests were completed within 3 hours. So most lifts were reopened for public use soon, but we will continue to work with the MSD to improve the turnaround time. Chairman, allow me. Now, when changing of parts are involved, it takes longer. So what about the waterproof sealants? Please improve these sealants because water would damage the lifts. And also, please conduct a survey to count the number of users through smart system to identify locations where there is over demand. Mr. Chan Siu-hong. Thank you, Chairman. I support the Universal Accessibility Program, which is a pragmatic response to different needs. This is helpful to building an inclusive city. Now, I'm pleased to see that one of the enhancement measure is to adopt MIC approach. Now, cost effectiveness is important here. Of course, the turnaround time, the building time would be shortened. But are we already seeing it diminishing marginal cost because of scale? Can the government give us some figures to show us a comparison between the cost of projects using MIC approach and those not using MIC? Now, in terms of completed projects, has the government conducted a regular review on, say, the cost, users' feedback, and usage? Will the government supplement us with these additional information so that we can review the overall effectiveness of the scheme? Deputy Secretary, thank you, Mr. Chen, for your support and questions. Concerning the cost effectiveness of MIC, now there are 3 existing contracts using the MIC approach. Indeed, the MIC cost for the first 2 contracts are higher than conventional construction approach. However, for the third contracts, the construction cost has significantly been reduced to a level similar to that of conventional construction approach. So concerning the survey after completion of the projects, now when the Highways Department implements the Universal Accessibility Program, they keep a constant dialogue with the local stakeholders concerning the locations and the mode of operation of the lift towers. They would also take into account the volume of pedestrian flow to maximize the benefits of the lifts. So, I'm sorry, time is up. Mr. Mark Chong. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the government for their efforts, especially and the NF130 lift projects in Yuen Long. It is adjacent to the rail tracks of the NTRC. There's also facilities managed by the CDD. So we conducted 3 on-site visits last year with the help of the government. So among the 3 lifts, one of the lifts was in time for commissioning on the 31st of December last year, so it was a very satisfactory result. So we hope you can speed up the construction of the remaining 2 lifts rapidly. Now, there were some hiccups. One of the contractors withdrew withdrew from the contract in the middle of the contract. So under the NEC, it caused strained cash flow for downstream contractors. So they proposed to adopt option C to continue to take forward the contract. Now there are some 1,600 suitable locations for building lifts. So far, there are only 300 items completed, so the progress is too slow. Can you set a KPI for yourself? For example, 100 items completed each year. Now, Hong Kong has moved into a high-age society, so we need more lifts. And also, there is a lack of business opportunities for the construction industry, so please speed up work.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Mark Chong, for his support. On enhancing our speed, as we mentioned in the document, we have used different methods, including enhancing the management of the contractors, the use of MIC in order to move faster. In the past 2 years, over 30 lifts have been commissioned. This is better than our previous experience, and we will continue to work harder. When it comes to contracts, I'd like to ask the Highways Department to give you more information. Regarding NF130, the contractor responsible for the lifts doesn't have any issue with the cash flow. As Mr. Mark Chong and Mr. Holden Chow are well aware, the lift is close to the light rail station. That's why we need more time to discuss with the transport operator what protection facilities we need to implement in order to ensure the safety of the project. Well, which project are you referring to? I'm talking about the second contractor. The first project was uncompleted. Well, just now Mr. Mark Chong gave you a suggestion, and I believe you can take it into account. We need to guard against any disruption in the cash flow. That is because this will result in uncompleted projects. Thank you. Mr. Perry, thank you. The UA program has been implemented for a long time. It's brought a lot of benefits to the community by providing barrier-free facilities. It's a good program for seniors as well as the disabled. It can improve the image of the city. It is worth our acknowledgement. This document is about a financial provision, so I'd like to ask about the project. As you know, different projects have different construction costs. It's subject to different constraints when it comes to topography. Take Lambton as an example. I'm familiar with it. In the community center in the west, there's an escalator connecting to Lei Yumun Road and Kai Tin Road. I understand that project is difficult. The construction cost is on the high side. Based on what I can see, comparing with general projects, they are of course easier, but when it comes to more complicated projects or those with a higher construction cost, how can the administration set the priorities based on foot traffic, based on needs? Of course, that is necessary. It's been in discussion by the District Council for about 2 decades, but there is no viable option at present, so I'd like to ask about this. Deputy Secretary. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yu, for your support. Regarding the financial provision we are applying for, we want to, the ceiling is $75 million per project, and we want to apply for it under block allocation. Not all of them are as expensive. Some involve ramps, some involve 2 lifts, hence the differences in the construction costs. I need to go back and study the situation mentioned by Mr. Perry Yu regarding how we set the priorities. There are a total of 382 projects, and we are in our final stretch. There are just about 100 or so projects remaining, and they will be completed in the coming 3 years. There are about 100 projects which we will consult the district councils on. We'll start with the easier project first, and we will get started right away after we have conducted the studies in relation to the foundation. Afterwards, we will deal with the projects with more complicated underground public utilities or those projects that involve title ownership. Thank you. Ms. Christine Fong. Thank you, Chairman. I'm all for the UA program. As I heard from the administration, they will remove the underground public utilities as soon as possible. Members of the public don't know what is happening. The underground electric cables, public utilities, they need to be removed or diverted. After these diversions and removals, if we can expedite the projects, then that's good. I'd like to ask whether there will be 2 phases to be conducted by the contractors, or will it be done by the government itself? The design of the lift building is quite large. Can we make it more flexible? Is there any room for driving down the construction costs? I know we're talking about the UA program today, but as Mr. Holden Chow said, there are some public interchange facilities in Changkwano Tunnel. What about the RAM projects in Polam? Those living uphill find it difficult. They have a hard time. So I'd like you to expedite the project. Please review the timeline of your construction. Thank you for your question. I'd like to talk about Hong Sing Gardens. We have already started the pre-construction works, but we need to surmount a lot of technical challenges at the same time. Say, there's about a difference of 80 meters from Polam Road North to Po Hong Road. It also spans the Changkwano Tunnel Highway. There are also very thick freshwater pipes. That is exactly why the construction cost is so high given the technical difficulties. Of course, we need to take into account cost effectiveness. I'll give the floor to my colleague to see what he can add. All right, on a number of contractors that are responsible for the removal or diversion of underground cables. In the detailed design phase, we'll first of all invite one contractor to be responsible for the removal or diversion of the underground public utilities. For boring or drilling, they will have to conduct these projects in order to carry on with the project. After this, the second contractor will be onboarded. When it comes to the structure, is it possible to be further enhanced? We have our own design standards. We will also identify room for enhancement. Thank you. I will further extend the meeting by 15 minutes. A couple of members are still waiting to speak. Thank you. Mr. Aaron Bock. The UA program started in 2012. A lot of projects have been completed. This shows that every single livelihood matter is important. Some nano coatings have been used in these projects to clean the lift shafts. I'm glad to see the introduction of nano self-cleaning coatings, but after all, some members of the public still find it not clean enough. I'd like to ask about the responsibility of cleaning as well as resources. Is it possible to ask the EMSD to clean the lifts at the same time? When they repair the lifts, they can clean it at the same time. Now, with global warming, there's more inclement weather, including floodings. What about the design of the lifts? Have you taken into account the possible flooding or inclement weather in the lifts? Mr. Ng, thank you. We'll continue to explore the proposals floated by you with the EMSD. At present, we work together with the contractors of the EMSD. They control the lifts, and the contractor of the Highways Department will clean the lifts. And we'll explore whether we can ask the EMSD to do it in one go. Thank you, Mr. Bok, for your suggestion. Regarding inclement weather, in order to reduce the impact of flooding or stormwater into the lift system, causing defects in the lift, in low-lying areas, when we retrofit lifts, we use different installations, including flood sensors, other equipment, and inside lift shifts, we have water bombs. We enhance the resilience of lift systems in inclement weather. On the external wall of lifts, there's a higher ground clearance, and we will further increase the ground clearance comparing with other traditional lifts. Captain Lam, thank you. The UA program is indeed a good one for members of the public. It is expected that the last project will be completed by the end of 2028. A total of 382 projects will be completed. What about the remaining 107 projects? Have you started working on these projects? Have you monitored the construction works of these projects? The UA program is aimed at providing convenience to members of the public in need. But as I observed, most people using these facilities are those who do not actually need them. By contrast, for those who need to use them, they need to queue up. For those that are wheelchair bound, for seniors, for those with prams, they need to line up. But instead, for those who actually do not need these facilities, they are still using these facilities without having to queue up. We need to improve civic education on this front. Thank you. Thank you, Captain Lam, for your suggestion on the use of lifts. In our discussion with the District Council, we can remind District Councillors to send this message to the public, especially in lifts with more foot traffic. There are about 100 projects which haven't been completed. About 107 projects are underway. There are also 5 projects that are under planning. Regarding the 107 projects, we expect that they will be completed in the coming 3 years. The Highways Department will continue to monitor the progress of these projects to make sure that we can complete them in 3 years. Ms. Kwok Foo-yong. Thank you, Chairman. The UA program is indeed a good policy. It has solved a lot of long-standing issues in Hong Kong, a lot of ramps, staircases, seniors. That's why members of the public are all for this program. I'd like to mention 2 points. First of all, for the lift intelligence access systems, there are touchless buttons, there are soft floor mats as well. These are indeed good installations and devices for people in need. There are 10 lifts piloting these installations. How are you going to extend them to other projects? Do you have any concrete timetable? Any target of numbers? Have you collected feedback from residents regarding these completed projects? Do you need to talk to people in the district to tap their feedback? There are some elements that are of great concern: maintenance, defects, satisfaction among members of the public. You need to collect their feedback. Do you have any report, any documents? Are they available for the public or members of the council? I'd like to talk about Yipsing Street in Chaclay. There's a lift over there. A lot of residents were looking forward to the retrofitting of the lift. But during the first year of operation, there were about a dozen times of defects about the lift. When there's a defect with the lift, the residents need to go back to where they were to take public transport. It was actually a one-way road in a dead end. I don't want to see the same thing happening again. Otherwise, the UA program isn't helping the public. Thank you.
Deputy Secretary, thank you, Ms. Kwok, for your support. Concerning the implementation of the lift intelligence access system, we will install the system gradually for newly built lifts. As Ms. Kwok said, the system will be very helpful for wheelchair-bound users or lift users who have their hands full. Now, in terms of public consultation, we will consult district councillors on a regular basis. We will also meet with the relevant organizations representing persons with disabilities and other users in need. Now, recently, we have been using AI and big data to conduct preventive maintenance and repair in advance. We have started that program starting from 2024, and by 2026, we have not received any malfunctioning reports resulting in downtime. Thank you. Concerning the operation of the lifts in that area, please maintain contact with Ms. Kwok Foo-yong. We are very concerned about the situation of that lift. Ms. Julia Lau, thank you. I support the program. Now, the lift shafts are an eyesore sometimes. But on the other hand, it is an opportunity to showcase the city's culture and art. So are the design of lift towers or lift shafts designed by architects. Maybe you can collaborate with the private sector to improve the design of lift shafts. Now, I saw the lump sum for the budget next year, but I'm more concerned about the individual estimates for individual lift towers and also the final accounts. So I would like to know the pre-estimates for, say, the cost for building 30 lift towers and also whether it tallies with the account, and also the use of MIC. You need to achieve a certain scale before MIC can achieve cost effectiveness. But I know this is the latest technology. Now, are you applying MIC in all 30 projects ongoing? Mr. Ng. Thank you, Ms. Lau, for your questions. Concerning the appearance of lift shafts, now we have consulted the Advisory Council on the appearance of lifts. It involves the representatives from different design institutes, including architects. So that's just the review, but what about the design? So the design has been approved. After the approval of the design, we would invite our on-site supervisors to monitor the quality of the projects. Yes, my suggestion is we need to involve the architects. So we will consider your suggestion. Thank you. Members, are there any objections to the funding proposal from the government? If not, we will support the government to pass this proposal for the scrutiny of the PWSC. Thank you. There are no other business. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.